I am Tade Fayomi. I am a management consultant here at BCG. I think that management consulting can seem quite vague in terms of what do we actually do. And what I've found is that essentially I am responsible for working with our clients, which range from private and public sectors, so governments to hospitals to small businesses to startups, and really working with them to solve the biggest problems that they have going on at the moment. So this could be anything from getting into the weeds with lots of research and putting together a lot of data, to then actually discovering insights, the so what's, what does that mean? The research that I found, what does it mean and what does it mean to the client, and how can we use this to actually impact change and add value to them and to society. So I know that it seems like quite a lot, but it's actually very interesting on a day-to-day in terms of what we actually get involved in. So here at BCG, I am more of a generalist, but I've had the chance to really work with clients in financial institutions and also in retail, which are two sectors that I'm very passionate about. I used to work in banking, so I love working with banks and trying to figure out the future of banking, as well as working in retail. And so this is anything from grocery stores to luxury and high fashion, which are things that personally I'm very interested in. And something that I think I didn't realize before I got to consulting is that really technology serves as an intersection across all these different industries and sectors. And so that's something that I wanted to learn a lot more about. So regardless of the industry that I'm working with or the client, I'm always excited by the fact that we are using technology to solve their problems. So that kind of brings it all together, but also applies to everything at the same time. Some of the best parts of my job. I have to say that I love the variety of the people that I work with on a day-to-day basis. It's amazing the team of people that are put together to work on different projects. So I've worked with scientists, literally even rocket scientists, to doctors and nurses, to your more traditional business people, to teachers. Literally, it's amazing how varied people come to work together on our projects. And that's been very inspiring and motivating because you're not just learning from working on the project, but you're also learning from the people who are literally sitting right next to you as well. So I would say that that's definitely the best thing about it. I think probably the toughest thing, and the job, it is quite challenging. It's a very steep learning curve. You learn a lot. I would say the hardest part is learning about a new industry or a new sector very quickly. So for example, just to bring it closer to home, I didn't know anything about how radiology departments in hospitals worked. I'm not sure if any of you would know a lot of detail about it, and you're literally thrown on a project, you have to add value, and you need to get up to speed very quickly. So I would spend days and days researching, trying to understand it. You're just thrust in there, and you just get on with it. And you surprise yourself by how much you learn, but it can seem quite daunting and terrifying at the beginning, thinking, I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that company does. How can I add value? And then before you know it, it's been a couple weeks and you've actually added value. So it's tough, but it's definitely very rewarding as well. Since I was younger, I was always interested in business. My mother was a businesswoman, so that was definitely a strong influence. As I went off to university, I studied finance and I took advantage of all of the different summer internships and information sessions and career events that happen on and off campus. And one day I specifically remember very clearly I was on an internship in a bank, and a senior VP, vice president, walked into the office. She was on the phone, she was speaking so fast, dressed in a beautiful wrap dress with an iced coffee. But what really stood out to me was the confidence that she was showing as she was speaking to her clients about what they needed to do and how she was going to help them achieve their goals. And I was just sat there, 18 years old, my first real job, and I thought to myself, I want to do what Allison is doing. That's who I want to be. And that's essentially, I just kind of worked backwards and thought, how do I get there when I'm her age? And that's what's landed me here today. So it's been quite a long journey. I've tried different things, but I've always had that inspiration in terms of I want to work with clients. I want to help them and their businesses be better. I want to be that strong businesswoman who's able to manage these relationships and really add value, not just to the company that she's working for, not just to her clients, but to society as a whole. I think there are a number of things that helped me to get this job in consulting. Some of them are a little bit more obvious in terms of the things that I studied in school. My first job working in the bank. I also went to business school to get my MBA. But I think a big part of what really pushed me to actually apply and get this job is not letting the fear of the unknown take over. If that makes sense. In terms of with consulting, like I mentioned earlier, you really get involved with different types of clients and different types of industries. And initially, I was of the mindset that if I studied finance, I should go to work in a bank. I couldn't do this or that. However, by being in a consulting role, you really realize that regardless of what you may have studied in school or what your initial experiences are, if you push yourself, you can really add value in ways that you didn't think you could. And so I think that even having that mindset to be brave enough to apply, even though it was quite different from what I used to do, and then to push myself and leverage some of the things that I learned in school and for my first job, I was able to get this job in consulting. You work on a variety of things in consulting, from beauty and fashion to public sector to climate change to engineering and rocket science. It's so much that you can do. And I think sometimes, and if I use myself as an example, because I don't want to stereotype, you might be so used to thinking that you go from step A to step B, you do this, then you do this. Whereas in consulting, it just mixes it up. It throws you into areas that you're not as familiar with. But it's in those uncomfortable situations that you really learn and you really push yourself. So that's what I would definitely say, is that don't be afraid to take a risk, be adventurous. You can try a job, you do it for a couple of years, you can try something else, or maybe you love it and you do it for a really long time. But that's just the ride of life and your working life as well. So definitely try it. Do the internship, do the spring week or whatever is available, and see if this is a good fit for you.